Hi everybody, it's Nick, just post-swim. One of the benefits of working for myself and having flexible working arrangements, midday swim, which is fantastic for your creativity and thought process. But I would like to talk about transformation today. It just was something that was on my mind when I woke up this morning, actually, because I miss it. I miss doing particularly the thorny big transformations. And the thought that came to mind is, what is it that really makes them work and what is it that doesn't make them work? And do you know what? I think actually it's some really simple stuff when you take it back down to first principles. So first of all, you need to have an idea. You need to know, what is this transformation? What is the big idea? And if people don't agree with that idea or don't buy into it, can't see the benefit that it's going to bring to them, to the business, and can't actually have an emotional engagement to it, you've got a problem. You've got a real problem, and there needs to be some clarity. And the best way actually to really get that is to involve people throughout the whole life cycle of the idea. So from the very seed, is to get people involved as quickly as possible and allow them to have a voice in it and allow them to help develop it. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, if people don't understand how that idea is going to be brought to life, how it can be made possible, how it can be made real, again, you're going to have a problem. Okay, so people aren't particularly comfortable with uncertainty, and if they just think that this is some airy-fairy thing that they cannot see being broken down and the application and how it's actually going to be operationalised and implemented, that's a problem. So that's where you need a really clear, although flexible, that's important, framework, an implementation framework, so people can see how this thing can be brought to life. I think the third thing that's really important is that people need to understand what their role is in bringing that idea to life. They need to understand that they've got a part to play, that they can add value to it, that they are a positive part of bringing this idea to life, and they're not going to be harmed by the idea. They're going to know what they're expected to do on a daily basis. They're going to know what they're going to be expected to deliver, how it's going to affect their daily lives. And that's where you need to take the initial framework that I've just talked about, and you need to take it down to the next granular level, and you really need to make it bespoke and make it clear to people what their part in that framework is. And the fourth thing, this is really important, and I think it's a really big one that we cock up on a lot, is once this train leaves the station and you start to bring this transformation to life, you've got to be really clear and honest about the stuff that goes wrong, not just the stuff that goes right. And I see that a lot in progress meetings. Everybody's trying to put a spin on something. Everybody's trying to, say this thing's great because it's all about achieving the idea at any cost. Well, actually, that's not true. Because one of the things we'll have to get our head around is, once we start transforming, we might find it's not the right thing to do. We might find that this idea we had, once we actually start to operationalise it, uncovers lots of pitfalls and lots of things that we didn't understand. And that doesn't mean it was wrong to do it, but it sure as hell is wrong to carry on with doing it if we discover that. And it may also be that actually it's difficult, and transformation is always difficult because you don't know what you don't know. And if you're really transforming, you probably haven't done something like this before. So it is likely, very, very likely, actually it's more than likely, it will happen that you are going to bump into problems. They may or may not be solvable. The worst thing you can do is hide it. The worst thing you can do is hide it from people. You need to involve them in that problem-solving process. You need to be transparent about it. And you need to allow them to have a voice, to raise their concerns, and also to be able to suggest solutions. So this isn't some negative downloading on people. This can be done in a really positive way, because actually people really like to be told the truth, and people really like to be allowed to use their creativity to perhaps help solve whatever the issue is. And I think that's actually where probably most people get disillusioned and most programs go off the road a bit, because people really start resisting it, because they start saying things saying, well, how is this going to be dealt with, and they're not telling the truth about this, and etc, etc. So I think those four things are really, really important. So idea, which needs to have been conceived and grown with people's inputs, particularly grasp people's input. That is really, really important, because they're the people at the coalface that actually really know the stuff and can really test whether this is going to bring value to the business, to the customers and to them. It's really important to be able to help people and yourself see how this thing is going to be operationalised, so people have some kind of a framework. I suppose it's like having a compass in choppy waters. You know, it's just the way our psychology is programmed. Thirdly, you need to make sure people know, you know, what their contribution is, how they're going to be interacting in this process, and give them some clarity and make sure they're okay with that, you know. And if they're not okay with it, we need to understand why, because there might just be something there that isn't just about that person, but is much wider than that. And fourthly, once the train's left the station, do not try and hide the truth. Share that truth with your team in a constructive way, and sit down, face the uncomfortable truths, work out whether the problems are solvable or not. If they're solvable, great. You need to probably do a little bit of replanning. You might need to rejig some stuff. You might need to change your framework. You might need to change roles. You might need to bring some new expertise in. You might even need to change the shape of the idea a little bit. Or, you know, it's fine. It's fine. Don't be too precious about it. But most of all, don't be too scared to say, maybe it's not the right idea, because it'll lead you to the one that is. And going back to the drawing board is very often one of the most successful things you can do. Just some thoughts on transformation, and I really hope they have helped. Take care. Bye.